afternoon to all people leaders saan ka man naroon sa Pilipinas at sa buong mundo. Welcome to People Manager on Cam, the online show of the People Management Association of the Philippines, the premier association of HR professionals and people managers in the Philippines. We are live. So that means, naririnig niyo siguro ang aking aso who's barking right now. So he also wants to greet you everyone right now. Good afternoon and thank you so much for joining us again this fine Wednesday afternoon. My name is Joanne. I am the Customer Success Manager of Lehigh Harrison. I am your host for today. I'm so excited to be with you all in this show. This we air every third Wednesday afternoon, and we have four segments. All of these segments aim to share and discuss critical HR and business matters, and we follow the acronym of PMAP. First segment is letter P for People Watch. We will highlight our peers, leaders in the HR business, or upcoming talents in the community. And for Must, it allows us to be updated with all the current issues that we have to know that are non-negotiables. And then we have the third segment, which is letter A for anticipate this. These are events, ideas, innovation, or breakthroughs that we all need to look forward to. And then the fourth segment is letter P for perk your heart. This is where we will learn about lifestyle tips, also, of course, new trends in leadership or in fashion as well. So these are our four segments, which we will feature for this afternoon. And I'm so excited because for our episode this month, we will feature the PMAP Awards winners. And this will really be an exciting opportunity for us to learn. So it's really because the past years caught us by surprise, or organizations and leaders, we all had to find our way, how to survive and thrive amidst all the crises we went through. And that is what we will talk about today. How did organizations and leaders make sure they were able to deliver value, provide support to their clients, their community, and their leaders while navigating tremendous uncertainty? I will not delay any further. Let's get to our first segment, People Watch. Let's get the ball rolling. I'm so excited because for this segment, we will learn how organizations and leaders can create responsible initiatives in a world challenged by pandemic. And I'm so excited, first time to join us here in our show, and I hope it's not the last time, the Executive Director of PwC Philippines, Ron Melendres. Hi, Ron. Good afternoon.
Hi, Joanne. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. And as you mentioned, this is my first time, and hopefully not the last. I'm very excited to lead this part or this segment of the show. So again, friends, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to People Watch, where we celebrate our peers, colleagues, coaches, and mentors, promising or upcoming talents and leaders in the community that never fails to inspire us to pay forward the goodness. I'm Ron Melendres, as John mentioned. I'm the Human Capital Learning and Development Executive Director at PwC Philippines. Now, for today's People Watch segment, we have our first awardee. They won the People Program of the Year by being a proactive company rather than being a reactive one. To join us as our guest for today's segment, we have the first Senior Vice President and Group Head of Human Resources of Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation. Uh, Friends, Ms. Rowena Subido is an accomplished HR executive with over 35 years of comprehensive human resources experience in both local and multinational institutions, 18 years of which is in the financial and banking industry. This includes strategic management of various HR disciplines such as recruitment, talent acquisition, learning and development, compensation and benefits, performance management, talent management, and employee relations. Prior to joining RCDC, she was connected with Citibank as Senior Vice President and Lead Human Resources Generalist. Before assuming this role, she was designated as Senior Vice President and Head of Human Resources for the Institutional Clients Group of Citibank. Early on, she also worked for City Financial Corporation, the Consumer Finance Division of Citigroup for 4 years as its VP and Human Resources Head. The rest of her HR experiences are in retail, distribution, manufacturing industries, and consulting. Ms. Subido graduated from the University of Santo Tomas in 1987 with a degree in Bachelor of Science, major in psychology. She also earned units for Masters in Science in Psychology, major in Organizational Industrial Psychology at the De La Salle University. She has recently finished her professional certificate in customer experience with distinction from the CX Academy. Ms. Subido is the former president of the bank's council for people managers from 2015 to 2016, and she currently chairs the Yuchenko Group of Companies HR Council. Friends, without further ado, our first guest for this afternoon, Ms. Rowena Subido. Good afternoon, Ms. Wen.
Thank you very much, Ron. Can you hear me well, Ron?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, and I'm
All
very
right. Thank
excited
you
to
very
be
much
talking to you
for your
again.
generous introduction.
I'm actually very excited since the last time we talked. We said, "Oh, we might not be able to finish that in 20 minutes, maybe not even an hour." So we'll try to compress today's
Sure.
conversation.
Yeah.
So first off, for those who might have missed the awarding ceremony, in a nutshell, what was this people program about? What was the people program of RCBC that deserved the merit of PMAP?
All right. This is actually called RCBC Ready. No, so Ready means rapid empowerment and assistance delivery. All right, but in a nutshell, it's a workforce readiness program, which is really anchored on I would say really building business resilience. All right,
Mhm.
so more than being prepared prior to the pandemic in terms of, I mean, all of us did this, no, like, clustering, spread prevention and safety and all of that. But more than
Right.
that, we were ready as early as 2015, no, in terms of all of our, pandemic plan, business continuity plan, no, etc. And to add to that, during the height of the pandemic, we have to really
Mhm.
think how we can actually retool, um, re-equip, no, our employees given the new landscape. As you
Right.
know, Ron, the business model has tremendously changed, right? So we
Mhm.
have to adapt, not to adapt very, very quickly during that time. So basically, it's really like, readying really our workforce, no,
Mhm.
in the midst, no, of all of that challenges during that time, especially in 2020. Yeah.
But this way, if I can backtrack, you mentioned since 2015 you've been planning for this. I mean, I'm sure no one anticipated the pandemic. So
Of
what
course,
prompted?
it's not the
What
pandemic
prompted?
per se, but
Mhm.
there's a plan, no? There's a business continuity plan
Mhm.
in the event that there'll be any whatever it is, whether it's a typhoon, earthquake,
Mhm.
epidemic, pandemic. I mean, all of those, no? So that's part of our business continuity plan, no? So in other words, we were really tested, no, at the height of
Mhm.
2020, when this happened, because nobody knows, di ba, what's going to happen next. If there will really be, like, vaccines at that time, right? In
Right.
2020, nobody knows, no. But at
Mhm.
least RCBC already has this particular business continuity plan in place, no, as early as 2015.
Mhm. Can you tell me who the key players were during the planning, let's say 2015, and when the
Yeah,
pandemic
yeah.
happened?
Well, it is a collaboration of all of the business units. So we have an RCBC crisis management committee
Mhm.
headed by our, well, no less than our president, no, and all the group heads on the business unit heads are part of the RCBC crisis management committee. And for this particular program, this is a very, very close collaboration between HR and the risk, no, the operational risk group, where the business continuity team is part of. Yeah.
Mhm. You mentioned that key piece of this program is retooling and reskilling or maybe
Mm.
upskilling people.
Upskilling,
So
yes, that's correct.
skilling. So how did you go about it? Like.
Mhm. Well, we have actually introduced new programs, new learning and development programs. But just before that, Ron, no, I would just
Mhm.
like to explain that RCBC, in terms of its L&D, has a
Mhm.
robust learning and development platform even before the pandemic. But most of our L&D, as probably the same as the other organizations, most of our learning and development sessions are really like face to face, right?
Mhm. Right.
So all of those, no, prior to the pandemic. So what do we have to do, no? So remember, the lockdown started in March
March,
Yeah,
yeah,
March
March 2020,
2020. Yeah.
2020.
So I have to really like, tell my L&D, talagang kinulit ko, Ron. Tell my L&D team, no,
I
to
can
really
relate.
be ready, oh, to really be ready to shift, no, to shift immediately kasi kailangan agile quickly, di ba? To
Right.
immediately shift and transition to a virtual platform, no? So, mabuti na lang, I have a very resilient team, no? So by May, as early as May, we were able to already shift. Even
Mhm.
our external training partners, I've spoken to all of them and asked them whether they can also shift, right? Or they can also transition. Because otherwise, we will really be looking also for some other partners. But they were also able to transition with us, no, so to
Mhm.
speak. And by May, most of our at least the continuing programs are already
Mhm.
on virtual platform, and even the major leadership programs that we have to also transition. So that's the first portion, no?
Mhm.
But as you have asked, how did you retool, di ba? How did we upskill? Siguro ang magandang example dyan, Ron, would really be like, our branch folks, no, our branch
Mhm.
personnel. Remember that we have clients who would rather really go to the branches, right?
That's
Really
true.
going to
Yeah.
the branches, doing
Like face to
transactions
face.
there.
Yeah. Face to face
Correct. And
talaga gusto.
that's fine. But I mean,
Mhm.
that's a usual, a usual transactional activity of our clients. But at the height of the pandemic, we have to um, train our branch folks to actually also train our clients. It's okay to do online banking. Yeah, you,
Mhm.
you don't have to go to the branch to do bills payment, right? Or do
Mhm.
actual fund transfers. You can actually enroll in the RCBC Digital, our online banking platform, which is very very easy to use, no, very very easy to navigate. So ganon ginawa namin, sabi namin sa mga branch folks, why don't you call our clients and teach them, no, how to navigate. That's just a one of the many examples, no. And
Mhm.
but by probably by the end of siguro mga half of 2021, the enrollment in our digital banking has grown tremendously, and our
Mhm.
clients appreciated that you can actually bank from home very safely, right? You don't need to go to the to the branches and expose yourself, especially at that time that we do not have any vaccines here. Yeah,
Miss
so
West,
that's
I'm
one of
curious
the
about
examples.
I'm curious
Mm,
about that because it was during a time of great change, a lot of
mm,
uncertainty, and
mm.
what you mentioned is aside from your people, assisting your people, you're also trying to assist your clients
Oh
with
yeah,
this
yeah,
one. I
yes.
wanted to know how was the reception of your people? How did you take care of your people? Because uh, it's them going through these changes, uncertainties, and at the same time, you're asking
Mm-mm.
them to manage your clients to also
Correct.
manage the
Mm-hmm,
uncertainties.
mm-mm. Yeah,
So,
of course.
how was it like?
Yeah, oo. Of course, Ron, that's really, I would not say that, it's a walk in the park, right? We,
Mm-hmm.
we, we definitely had a lot of challenges also to face. But at the back of our minds, all of us, no, in the crisis management committee, syempre safety first, right? It's our primordial concern, no, as far as our employees are concerned. So that's one. So we just have to make sure that our branches are secured, are
Mm-hmm.
safe to go to, no, even in the midst of the pandemic. So that's for our branches. But for our people in the head office, we implemented I'm sure kayo din, no, the work from home
Mm-hmm.
setup, no. That's
Right.
our mobile and remote policy. And I would say that days or weeks, even weeks before the lockdown, we're already ready, no, in terms
Mm-hmm.
of like all the infrastructure. We have deployed like I think more than 2,000 VPNs already, no, at the time, so that our people will be able to access, no, anytime, at the comforts of their home, no. So in
Mm-hmm.
other words, there's safety factor there, no. And then of
Mm-hmm.
course, we also have to make sure that by teaching our clients, they'll be able to appreciate the efforts also of the bank ensuring their safety as well. Yeah.
Right.
So that's
Mhm.
a, parang two-prong siya, no, at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what amazed me, because a lot of some organizations really are, especially if they're not client facing, they just need to take care of their people. But in your case, you had this challenge of making sure that your people, those who are facing their customers, are
Right.
also helping the clients themselves adapt to these changes. Now,
Right. Right. Right.
uh, let's go to something more pragmatic. RCBC is
Mm-mm.
a huge company with
Mm.
considerable war chest and resources and experience
Mm-mm.
with VUCA environment. Uh,
Right.
but we have a lot of listeners here who might not have the same resources. What can be
Mm.
something from your experience that can be translated or put in place by let's say SMEs, small medium
Mm. Mm-mm.
enterprises?
Right. Right. Well, to begin with, you're correct. No, RCBC is a large organization, and you would say that we have the resources, no, to implement all of these initiatives that I have mentioned earlier. But of course, being a bank, we also have SME clients, right? We
Right.
have a lot. We have a lot of SME clients, and without divulging a lot of things, no, but we have helped, no, we have helped our SME clients navigate or transition or whatever, whatever verb you want to 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 say, during the pandemic, no. So as much as we could, we have really introduced care programs, no, for our clients, not just the SME but generally to the clients of RCBC. We have to make sure that, I think that's one of our responsibilities as well, no, as the bank of their choice, right? So
Mhm.
we have to also be here to help them out. No? After all, the SME clients, went to us, no, to for us to help them, right, at the time of whether they're opening up a business or whatever, etc. So at the height of the challenge, at the height of the pandemic, we should also be able to help them out, right, as
So
their
what would be
bank of
your
choice.
advice for them? Again, being more experienced in disaster management, in risk management, what would be your biggest advice for our SME audience who won't have the same level of resources,
Right.
especially
You
into
know,
people program?
Oo nga. Alam mo, Ron, if you're really going to look at uh, deeply, no, our people program, it's not really, anybody can do it, no. It's not really as probably as expensive as some people might think it is, right? To begin
Mhm.
with, no, you mentioned about ensuring safety of our people. We even have not just the physical safety of our people. Um, Probably in 2021, when everything or everyone is already thinking about like when would this end, etc., etc. So ang nagiging problem na natin at that time was mental health, di ba, yung mga well-being, etc., etc. So we
Mhm.
implemented those. No, we implemented a lot of mental well-being, not just mental, but spiritual well-being, etc. Live webinars, and these are not really very expensive. Any
Mhm.
organization, any SME for that matter, can actually implement that, no? Or even probably the retooling or
Mhm.
transitioning. I mean, it's not really like a very expensive initiative, no,
Right.
to begin with, no. Probably the side of our digital transformation initiative. Maybe some of those are really kind of really for bigger organizations, but the people program itself,
Mhm.
it's not really so expensive. And after all, no, after all, any transformation, people transformation is the key. People is a crucial link, di ba? Either, the people
True.
will dalawa lang naman yan eh. They will support it or they will be a hinder to it, right? So they're just two choices,
I
right?
agree. And
So
if the
that's why
environment changes,
people
we
is
also have to make sure that our people change, di ba? As
Yes,
the
yes,
environment
yes.
change, kailangan talaga tugunan yan. Miss
Oo,
Wen, I'm
correct.
getting ano na, warning, but I still have a
Ah,
lot of
okay.
questions. Was there anything you would do differently? Anything you could have done more of or less of? Or what's the biggest lesson for you
Um,
in
I,
implementing
I
this
think
program?
I
Yeah.
think what we will probably the biggest lesson, and I would not even change that. No, is really like over preparedness, right? We have really over prepared, no, as far as pandemic is concerned. Number two is there's really genuine concern, no, of top
Mm-hmm.
management, genuine, no, top to bottom talaga to. And the people felt it. You cannot fake it, di ba? The people felt
Mm-hmm.
it. And number three is really the resilience, no, and the patience of the employees of RCBC. Yun talaga, those are really the key. In fact, I was mentioning it to you the other day that, this is our award, no, the People Program of the Year award. It's not really an HR award. No? This is really an award for the men and women of
Mm-hmm.
RCBC who were really tested at the height of the pandemic. But instead of, coming up with all of the alibis that I cannot do it or because, there's a challenge, etc. But, we thrive on it, no?
Mm-hmm.
And we flourish, no, in spite of the challenges.
Okay. Speaking of thriving, last question. Actually, I'm
Oh,
getting
sure,
tired now.
sure.
Let's talk about results. What's been the impact to your financials? How about your attrition, retention, or talent acquisition,
Right.
quality of work and
Uh,
life? Like, let's talk about numbers. How are your
right.
numbers?
Yeah, because after all, that's the metric, right?
Right.
So, in ganun naman eh, di ba? That's the result. So, in 2021, actually, at the end of 2021, RCBC net income, no, profit, no, rose to an all-time high, no. We have actually received more than 60 awards in the last 2 years, no, during the
Mhm.
pandemic. And our NPS score, no, the Net Promoter Score, no, just like any other, organization, that's very crucial, no, is actually great, no, in terms of the NPS scale. And of course, to answer your question on attrition, we ended the year at 11%, which is actually lower than the banking industry attrition rate. So I think those are proofs, no, among the measures, no, of any organization.
Okay, final question before I
Oh,
know they're
sure.
already telling me that's what's next? What's next? How will you sustain
Okay.
it? Now, right now, it's about sustainability. How will you sustain this?
Correct, correct. Okay. I think I've shared it also during PMAP. No, we are here to really focus on building a new breed of bankers. We're actually building digital bankers. No, at this point, all of our programs, like all of our management training programs, have been rebranded. No, we call it actually Delta. No, wherein we are really looking at building, no, a new breed of bankers. We're trying to remake the DNA, the core, no, the core
Mm-hmm.
capabilities of any RCBC banker, as well as its mindset, no. And we have rebranded our RCBC Leadership Academy to an RCBC University, where
Mm-hmm.
we have, aside from the Leadership Academy, we have the Digital Academy as well as the Customer Experience Excellence Academy. So those are the major programs that we have for 2023.
Thank you so much, Miss Wen. I hope we can continue this conversation. But
Yeah.
a lot of things to talk about. So in a nutshell, it's really about caring for your people, not compromising on safety, making sure that people are able to go with the change, reskill, upskill, retool them, and of course, the real concern coming from the leaders who themselves were hands-on in implementing this
Yes.
program. Thank you so
Thank you,
much, Miss
Ron. Thank
Wen,
you
and
very
I'll see
much.
you
Yeah.
again.
Thank you,
Thank you.
PMAP.
Thank you. Back to you, Joanne.
Ron, and thank you so much, Wen, for joining us in our show. And I have to say, I really, from a client perspective, I have to say that you really did very well because I am an RCBC client. And before COVID, I would literally go to the branches to do my transactions. But when we had to move to online, support was really there, really amazing. The team. I would email, response was there right away. They would call me to check on me if my concerns were addressed. So I would have to say that you really deserve the award. Congratulations! I like what you said about being proactive, you anticipated the risks, and you really did a good job. So we really learned a lot from you. So for those who are joining us now, please do send it. If you have any question to our guests or any comments, type in the comment section. And I would like to say good afternoon. We have James Watson. Yes, good afternoon to you as well. And thank you for joining us. Let us know if you have any questions or comments, and we can interact with you. We will ask your questions to our guests. All right, so we will proceed to our next segment. We will meet one of our highly esteemed judges of the PMAP Awards to talk more about what are these highly coveted special citations. And also, of course, not only that, we will learn more about the impact of these awards in the organizations and also the people leaders, its clients, and also the community that we serve. Let's welcome our very own, as our next segment host, the head of Learning and People Development of Mondanisan Corporation, Lawrence Go. Hi, Lawrence. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, and thank you for the introduction, Joanne. Happy to be the host of this month's Must segment, and I'm very excited, as you've mentioned, to hear from our guest today. Actually, introducing him as a guest is not quite right, as he is also our past PIMA president, so he's no stranger to any of our programs, be it People Manager on Cam or, of course, our PIMA awards. But to introduce him fully, our guest today is a senior executive in human resources, communications, and public and corporate relations with various companies across industries, including postings overseas in his more than 40 years of active employment. He is a former board member of Republic Cement and Lafarge Cement Services Incorporated and various other Lafarge associated companies. He is also the former president of Fortune Cement Incorporated and Continental Operating Corporation. He is currently the principal and owner of E4V Enterprises and a board member and consultant at Lorem Ipsum Communications. Ladies and gentlemen, our PIMA president in 1995 and People Manager of the Year in 2005. He is also the PIMAP Foundation Treasurer and PIMAP Society of Fellows Vice President. Now, our fellow practitioners in human resources and people management, we have today our segment, PP Ed Soriano. Good afternoon, PP Ed.
Magandang hapon. Good afternoon, Lawrence. It's a pleasure to be here.
There you go. Thank you so much for gracing our segment this afternoon, PP Ed. Now, perhaps, PP Ed, I could get straight to our first question because I know that
Sure.
there's a lot for us to talk about regarding the PMAP Awards. So the first question that we have prepared for you, PP Ed, is that the PMAP Awards have been recognizing the outstanding works and practices of different companies in the industry for several years now. And I know that you've been judging the PMAP Awards for also a couple of years now. And the question, PP Ed, is that as a past president of PMAP and as a judge as well, what have we seen as the major impacts of this recognition to our local organizations and institutions?
Okay, maybe I should start with the winners first, no? How it impacts them.
Please
Siyempre,
do, PP Ed.
siyempre yung winner, for him, for the company, it's a validation that they're actually doing very well. And it's not just very well, but they're actually doing better than all the rest and not higher than the rest. So it's a source of pride for these companies because then they know that whatever they invested in for the people in the organization has been recognized and then now being awarded. And it's not only the companies that are winning here, but also the people in those companies. Sa kanila, it's also an affirmation that they are in a safe place. That actually they're in a company that they should be and then shouldn't be thinking about going into other places because the company is able to provide for them a wonderful employee experience. And that is enough for them to be inspired, to be motivated, to be engaged so that then they can continue working for the company and the company continues to also prosper. So magandang results for the winners, both for the employees and for the company, no? And now, for the others that are witnessing these awards, so the other companies that are not yet awardees but could be potential awardees. So they may be looking at an opportunity if they have the same programs, for example. Because ito naman halos lahat ng companies, they have the same programs. Lahat tayo, di ba? Except that for the winners, it's more unique, it's more trailblazing, it's different, it's special in many ways, no? So for these companies who are looking at the awardees, they are probably thinking about two things. One, is if they don't have it, to replicate the programs because they're valuable. Or if they have the programs, to find ways to improve on the programs, to make them better, to make them more responsive. Diba? And the other thing is, in all doing this, and I'm sure a lot of the companies will also want to aspire the same way, is to prepare to become an employer of the year at some point or other, or to get their programs recognized, or their HR or people manager to be awarded as people manager of the year. So this is how the awards is impacting everyone.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts here, PP Ed. No, so validation for the companies who won the awards, and at the same time reaffirmation for the stakeholders, specifically for the employees. No, that they're in the right hands. No, that they are employed in the right companies and organizations. So thank you for sharing that, PP Ed. No, and very exciting to see, no, and to hear from our winners. No, just earlier coming from RCBC, and then the next two segments we're going to be hearing more from them. Now, focusing now, PP Ed, on the impact of the PMAP Awards, no, specifically to the people management, no, or to people management as a practice, given that, of course, as human resources practitioners, both you and I, and a good majority of our listeners, no, would you be able to share, PP Ed, in your years of seeing awardees and handing out awards in this particular matter, some of the most memorable initiatives that really impacted shareholders? Something that's really memorable to you as a judge or as a human resources practitioner?
Again, I will look at, well, before I talk to about the human resource practice, no, uh, I'd like to say that siguro yung awards is parang it seals the practice. You know, if we take the functions, for example, recruitment, people development, compensation, employee relations, etc. Parang the awards and recognition is across, runs across. So if you're doing very well in each of them, that is the reward, that's the recognition. It seals the good practice that you're actually doing. And what that does is it increases or it raises the level of self-confidence. And so you continue to do the practice or improve on it. Second, again, it provides for the stakeholders, especially employees, a positive employee experience. Third, it allows the continuance of innovation, creativity, so that you can sustain the program and it becomes better each time. So you raise the notch higher. So then even for the same programs, for the same application in the same company, you see something happening every time. And if you put in the element of recognition and reward there for whoever are preparing it, which is HR or some other units, and the people who are receiving it, who are responding positively, then the experience for everyone becomes positive and wonderful. And this is the impact of reward to the practice of HR and for those who benefit from the HR practice.
Mhm. All right. And I've taken note of what you said, PP Ed, no? It seals the good practice, no? And of course, it's going to be imperative to us, no? The People Management Association of the Philippines to be able to recognize that, no? And be able to, like, again, validate to the organizations, no? That you're the leading edge and that the other organizations might look up to the way that you did, no? Because as you've mentioned nga rin kanina, lahat naman tayo may Compenben, for example. We all have employee engagement, no? But in terms of the execution, no? In terms of the impact, no? Being able to recognize them, as you've mentioned, is critical in sealing the good practice. Now, PP Ed, a good follow-up question to this one, no? Meron ba mga tumatak sa'yo na mga initiatives, no, in the past years that you would want to recall, no? Share some anecdotes, no? Not necessarily the name of the company, no, but perhaps an award, someone, no, an organization or a person, no, na yung story niya is really something na nag-iwan sa'yo ng mark.
Sige. Actually, Lawrence, ako perennial judge ako eh. So I've been a judge in many years I couldn't remember. And I've sat in not only in Employer of the Year, but also in People Management and Programs of the Year, no? So, I mean, if we're talking about all these experiences, ang dami.
Yes,
So I could compile them in a book. But tama. So I'll just go to the recent ones. Kasi siyempre, madaling ma-recall, di ba? So one company and this is related to the pandemic. So I guess every one of us, if we're working, we know that the companies we work for and all the others, they tried their best given the limited resources because everybody is concerned for the welfare and safety of their people. No? So hindi lang yung mga tao nila but their families. But this company did one step higher, did one notch higher na naman. No? Kaya nanalo to eh. That's why I remember it. Bukod sa ginawa niya lahat itong mga ito, may ginawa pa siyang iba eh. Binahay niya yung lahat ng mga empleyado. They got apartments and houses which are adjacent to the plant, and they put all the production workers there. So all they did was to cross the street to go to work, and then cross the street back to go home. And they were provided all their meals, of course. On the other hand, their families were taken care of. So they were safe, and they were, so isa yun. Pangalawa, na magandang ginawa, kasi itong kumpanya to meron siyang mga housing loans. Because a commitment to provide houses for their employees. So they are outstanding loans nung dumating yung pandemic. What the company did was to suspend all the amortizations of the payments during the period of the pandemic and did not force the employees to accumulate payments and pay them all at once after the pandemic. Kung hindi, itutuloy lang. Never mind that there was a gap of 2 years or more. Diba? So that one. And the third one, which is more important or more interesting for me, was it not only provided additional livelihood for the employees, but also the families. And not also the families, but also the neighbors. So ang ginawa ng kumpanya to, it took what was assigned to a third party as a jobbing task, yung stickering ng produkto. So they had these labels or stickers which they contracted to a third party na yung third party gumagawa. What they did during the pandemic was they assigned it to the families of the employees and to the neighbors in the community. So by that fact, they increased the source of income of the families of these workers, and they also helped the community by providing them sources of livelihood during these difficult times. So that is one that stood out from my memory, that it is really very interesting. Yung
Yeah,
isa,
thank you for sharing. Sige, please, prepared. Please proceed.
Yeah.
If there's still another one.
Okay, so the second one is sa environment naman, sa environment protection. Apart from the things that we normally do as companies, planting trees, seeding, cleaning shores and riverside, beach fronts, etc. Ang ginawa nito, it set a strategy or a program where it set a target 2025 na maging zero plastics waste siya. So it's considering that it is a consumer product. Yung use of plastic is it's everywhere. It's very prevalent, and to set a target for 2025 to be zero plastics is really a stretch, no? And not only that, it went one step further. Meron siyang material substitution target. Meron siyang packaging substitution for biodegradable use of biodegradable materials, no? For 2030. So I'm just impressed because it's not just targeting, so it's not lip service. They're actually setting a date and they're monitoring and evaluating their progress every year, and they're reporting it as part of the responsibility to the stakeholders, where or how far they are from these targets. So these are two classic examples.
Thank you for sharing, PP Ed, no? And we can actually see, no, that us recognizing these organizations, these companies, no, as we mentioned, no, they seal the good practice, and we send a message, no, to all other organizations, no, that this is what we consider, no, extraordinary in terms of efforts, in terms of initiatives, no, in making an impact to their stakeholders. So thank you for sharing that, PP Ed. Now, perhaps before we close our segment, no, since we still have perhaps a minute left, PP Ed, if you can share a message, no, to organizations that are also aspiring to be recognized, no, in the PMAP Awards in the future, what would be things that they would have to do, you know, like introspectively?
Sige. Siguro it's just a statement na yung awards is open to everybody. So it does not discriminate against anyone. There might be an impression that the bigger companies, because they are bigger and they're well resourced or longer in the industry, or they have names already in the industry, that they have the advantage. They haven't had the advantage. So we always tell even in the last awards, we have small, medium, and large companies. We have local, multinational. We have small revenue and big revenue companies, and small profits and big profits. Everyone is actually welcome. We don't judge on the basis of your size, the nature of your business, how old you are, what kind of impact you have created so far in the economy, etc. We judge you in terms of whether you are a good employer. And we have 6 categories that we judge you against. So for those who are all interested, please just make sure that you are ready now and then submit your applications, and we'll be very happy to welcome you.
All right, great insights as always, and as expected, PPN. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope that we could also invite you in our succeeding segments and programs here on People Manager on Cam.
Thank you, Lawrence. It was a pleasure.
Likewise, PPN. Now I'm giving the floor back to our host, Joanne.
Thank you so much, Lawrence. And Sir Ed, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And I want to say thank you so much, Sir Ed, for the time and effort. We know that it also takes a lot for you to judge these companies, these leaders, and also, of course, to all the members of the judges. Really, thank you so much for doing such a huge thing for the organization, and also, of course, for the employees of these companies. So we really want to give you all the honor and the appreciation. And to the leaders of these companies, I want to say thank you for taking care of your employees' well-being. Who else will do it? Sabi nga, di ba, we take care of our own, and you are going above and beyond. I want to say you're making a significant difference in the lives of your employees and to the community where you operate. And we are learning a lot from you. Thank you so much. And as we said, it's really recognition. We seal all the best practices of these organizations, and that's what we will talk about as we head on to our third segment. Usually, we ask what employees can do for the organization where we work at, right? But great employers also think about what can we do for our employees. And past President Ed has given some 2 examples, I think, right, of 2 companies who go out of their way to take care of their employees. We will know more as we go to our third segment, and that is what our segment host will introduce. So, introducing our next segment host, the founder and CEO of Movimentum Leadership and Management Consultancy, we have the ever reliable Miss Jacqueline Lui. Hi, Jackie. Good afternoon.
Hi, Joanne. Good afternoon. And thank you so much for introducing me. Maayong hapon sa atong tanan, sa atong mga viewers. As mentioned, I am Jacqueline Lui, the founder and owner of Movimentum Leadership, and also an executive and culture building coach of Haraya Coaching. I am calling from Davao City, the southern part of the Philippines, and I am deeply honored and feel privileged to be your Anticipate This segment host today that features the PMAP 2022 Employer of the Year awardee. As emphasized in the must segment, in advocating deeper awareness of the power of sound people practices and its huge impact to sustainable business results, PMAP is continuously fostering this Employer of the Year award. This award represents a standard of excellence in people and business management practices that profoundly honors people-first practices. This year, the company that perhaps rare most of us yesterday, today, and tomorrow with their good food, good life practices, Nestle Philippines Incorporated is recognized as the Employer of the Year awardee. And I am deeply honored to be joined by the Senior Vice President and HR Director of Nestle Philippines Incorporated, Greg Shilipotti. Greg joined Nestle in Switzerland in 2002 after several functions in the public and private sectors. Since he joined Nestle, Greg has gained an extensive and rich leadership experience in human resources in Spain, Portugal, Central and West Africa region, and Switzerland on operational and strategic roles. Prior to his appointment as Nestle Philippines Human Resources Director, he was Nestle's Global Hire to Retire Program Director, who successfully led the global transformation of the HR function and the creation of global people strategy 2025, which aims to build a future-ready, diverse, and inspiring workforce that is a force for good. Greg holds a master's degree in business administration from the University of Geneva, a postgraduate in strategic labor relations from IDA Business School in Spain, and has been part of the program for executive development at IMD Business School in Switzerland. He has a bachelor's degree in computer science from the University of Applied Science in Switzerland and University of Hawaii in the United States, and a Bachelor of Social Science in Economics from the University of Geneva in Switzerland. So, Greg, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jacqueline. Very happy to be with you for the dialogue this afternoon.
Yeah. So, una sa lahat, Greg, a huge congratulations to you and your company. And I'm really excited to ask the first question to you and perhaps share a great feel of a company of choice to many people in the Philippines. So, my first question, Greg, is generally how the normal day in Nestle Philippines feels like for your people today.
So in Nestle Philippines, so we are present in Nestle Philippines for more than 110 years, and we have more than 5,000 employees in our factories, distribution center, head office, shared service centers, in our sales. So that means that the day-to-day, by say, is not the same. At the same time, there is something that is common when we are talking about Nestle in the Philippines is really the value that we are working for, and also the purpose to really unlock the power of food and the value of respect. And I think when we are talking also about the example and some company also that we are nominating in the PMAP, this willingness to impact our generation and also the future generation. And for Nestle, when we are talking about respect, is first of all, it starts with us as an employee, as a professional, as a member of the community. Then it goes also to respect the diversity, respect others, and also to respect the future. So it's why it's so important for our employee and for each of us to identify what we can do in order to build a sustainable future. And that is really how people feel when they come to Nestle, when we do the onboarding, when we develop, and we are developing through the years, is really this impact to contribute to the purpose and also to respect and to impact the society.
Wow, thank you so much, Greg. What really resonates well with me in what you are sharing now is about quality of life and the preservation of that today and tomorrow. And it's so good to feel that. All right. So I would like to go now to my next question. If you are going to, although you have described some of this, but if you're going to describe 3 words on who is Nestle as an employer, what are these 3 words or perhaps adjectives, and share a little bit why this describe Nestle as an employer?
So if we talk about Nestle, I should use 4 words. So it will be good food, good life. So I will not use that. But really what I will use is be a force for good. Force for good. That is really also behind the respect aspect. And when we are talking about be a force for good, is really in 3 main dimensions when we are talking about our people. The first dimension is related to diversity. It's so important to bring into an organization people from diverse background in the country, from abroad, also from diverse schools. So it's why also it's so important for us that when we are talking about diversity, we include all aspects of diversity. When we are talking about gender balance, all the effort also that we are doing on gender balance, so 50% of our senior position are all by female. Also, when we are talking about youth, how we are working between all the generation, we have 5 generations working under the same roof. It's so important also that in order to build the best product for a consumer. When we are talking also diversity across all the generation, also about the LGBTQ plus, what we are doing in order to ensure that we are putting in place the right policy, that each of us feel comfortable with who we are. Remember, I was mentioning about respect for ourselves and respect for others, and that really is the essence of Nestle. So, force for good, diversity, the second aspect, and it was so important also to the pandemic, but also before the pandemic and also today, is the health and the well-being. How we are able also to leverage and to help each of our employees to find the right balance when we are talking about the level of energy. When I talk about well-being, is what is your level of energy when you wake up? What is your level of energy when you go to bed? What is your level of energy during the day? It can be at home, working. It can be at work also. But really, it's so important how we manage that. So we are giving some tools also to our employees. We run several programs to help each of us and our line manager, people manager, to really ensure that we are taking care of our employees. Remember that we have also operation, that we have some jobs that are risky in our factory distribution center. So it's really important that each of us, we are focused and we take care of ourselves. So first, diversity. Second, well-being and health. And the third one is each of us, we want to grow. We want to be better. And this talent development is so important. All the programs that we are putting in place in order to develop skills, the foundation, what are the key skills that we need in marketing, in sales, in operation, in finance, HR, that is really important. But at the same time, what are the skills, the future-ready skills that we need in the organization to ensure that we will be able also to compete and to don't be obsolete tomorrow. And that is also so important. In order to achieve that, what we are doing, and first of all, one of the important and tool that we use, or people practice that we use, is also the expatriation mission. People going abroad in order to share, to learn. So, for example, we have more than 30 Filipinos that are abroad. My predecessor, she's currently in Malaysia, Singapore. I'm coming from Switzerland. I spent, as you were mentioning, several years in several countries. And that is so important because we are able to understand every day a bit more of what is the Nestlé culture and how we are working in a diverse community. So that really are the main facets: diversity, health and well-being, and talent development behind the Be Force for Good.
Thank you so much, Greg. No, so it's so resonating when you talk about diversity of all sorts, of all aspects of what you can really grow from there in terms of diversity. And I like also what you mentioned about the discipline in energy management, and that is very critical in really upbringing the well-being also of your talents. And of course, the continuous growth, not just continuous growth, but it's also a flexible growth. As you mentioned, Mitzi is already in Singapore and Malaysia, and you now here in the Philippines. So you really are growing with so much flexibility as well. Thank you so much for that, Greg. No, so now, Greg, it also I'm curious also about, as you mentioned, you are also being rotated from one country to another, and this is about leadership. So what leadership and organization culture you feel you have been successfully developing in Nestlé today? And what is that leadership and organization culture that you feel you are still continuously working on as of today?
So really the role and the leadership and the influence of the leadership and the culture is so important. So for example, what we are doing is really to clarify what is expected from each of us as leader and for employees. I think this manifesto of what is acceptable, what is not acceptable is really important. So what we have done and what we did few years ago in 2019 is to develop this framework that we can still improve and really cascade in the organization. We call this framework here in Nestlé in the Philippines that is based also on respect and based on the behavior that we need in our group. It's called Lead Strong. And there is 3 dimensions on Lead Strong. The first one is lead to win. Who doesn't want to win? We have to be better than our competitors. We have to grow. We have to deliver the result. So really that is also ensuring that what we do deliver results. And the second also dimension are based on 2 important aspects of how we are able to deliver these results. The first one, talk about ownership. Really how each of us, we are the owner of what we deliver. That we take this level of accountability, that we ensure that, yeah, I will not be the victim, but I will try to push myself in order to deliver the result. And the second dimension, the other dimension is agility. Agility in this world that we can plan in the past. And remember, before, when I entered into Nestle 20 years ago, we were doing some roadmap for what is going to happen in the next 10 years and what is the direction. Today, already when we are defining the plan for next year and we are finalizing that in the coming days in Nestle, is already, yes, we are pretty sure what is going to happen in the coming week, but then it's complicated with inflation, with all the dimensions that we know. So is why it is agility. Doesn't mean that we don't have to plan. We have to plan, and I think it's really important that we have. And we have to be rigorous when you have a plan and we want to really execute it. At the same time, we have to have this agility, the ability to iterate, to adapt and find the right path. So again, this framework helps us and is really the mindset that we need as a leader, to ensure that we deliver the right result and sustainable result. Because the risk, if you are taking just a dimension, imagine just the lead to win dimension, we will deliver result. But we'll deliver the result in 2022, but perhaps not in the coming years. So the three dimensions, lead to win, ownership, and agility. Lead stronger.
Wow, it's to me, it sounds to me, Greg, that it's really the cultivating the right mindset for your leaders, and that also goes down and trickles down to your organization and to your people. And first and foremost is to really have that clarity why you are here, why you are there in Nestle, and it's so beautiful that you mentioned about that lead strong framework. All right, so on my next question, Greg, what do you think, since you are the Employer of the Year awardee, what do you think is the business imperative this award complements or serves Nestle Philippines in general, and as well as your HR team in particular?
So really, as the Kasambuhay that we are, and really the companion for life is really what we try to achieve on a daily basis. Is really linked to the purpose that we have, unlock the power of food for current generation and generation to come. And that is so important that we, each of us, and also to be nominated and to be recognized, bring back a lot of responsibility, because it was shared also the fact that yes, we are sharing and we have good practices, but also what we have to think about is how we can become better. Not better for the organization only and for the business, but again, to put, when we are talking about employee experience, I like also to talk about people experience. That goes beyond employee, because today in the current world, we are working with our direct employee. We have more than 5,000 employees, but we are working also with some contractors, some partners that are also working are so important. Otherwise, we are not able to deliver what is expected. So this dimension is crucial to connect everything that we do behind the purpose, but not behind the purpose that is in a PowerPoint presentation. It is why it's so important when we have been nominated and when we have been able to share that in the organization, also to connect with each of our employees, how we can impact the society through voluntary programs, through on a daily basis, how we can contribute, delivering also the result. So that really, to be recognized is an honor, and at the same time is a huge responsibility. And it highlights also the fact that we have learned also a lot when we are interacting with other companies, and we are interacting with other companies with good people practices that exist outside of Nestle. So I think also we do not have to sleep on what we have achieved, but to continue to improve. And for HR, I think we can be proud, first of all. I think it's great to have been recognized, and thanks a lot for the team and for my predecessors also, and for each employee that are currently working in Nestle Philippines. And that I think is really amazing, because when we win, it creates another level of energy, and we really want to continue in that direction. So again, for HR, what does it mean? Proud, clearly, and it impact and a clear impact of we are doing things right. So we'll continue in that direction. At the same time, we perhaps have to accelerate and fine-tune some elements of our people strategy in order to ensure that we deliver what is expected for our business.
These are really beautiful conversations or inputs that you are and insights that you are sharing, Greg. No? So it's really the meaningfulness and impactfulness of your connection with the people. People would mean different people, different stakeholders of your company. And again, I really would like to congratulate your HR team, no, your predecessor, and also your team, current team today. It really validates how you would really like to accelerate the best people practices today and tomorrow. And for my last question, Greg, as the Senior Vice President and Human Resources Director of Nestle Philippines, what is your one biggest dream for your employees or for the people in general?
From the first day that I became a people manager and first time that I became HR director, my biggest concern slash dream is that people come home. First of all, I think it's something that is really important, healthy, and when they arrive at work every morning, they feel good. They feel good, and they can feel fulfilled during the day, and they can feel happy during the day. Because there is so much pressure when we are talking about anxiety, we are talking about also the pressure of COVID, etc. So really my dream is that each of our employees feel fulfilled, with really happy, in peace also when they come at work. That is really important. At the same time, we have to find the right balance. That means that it's not because I am in peace, I am happy and fulfilled, that I will not be challenged. I think really to have this dimension and this balance between the fulfillment, this happiness, and at the same time to contribute is important. So it's why, again, if I go back to your previous question about leadership, it's so important that we transform each of us as a leader coach, really to ensure that we are bringing the best from our people. And that for me, if you ask me really what will be my dream, is yes, that each of our leaders act as a leader coach, to extract the best of each of our employees. And that I think that we will be able to do a cultural transformation and be even better in Nestle.
Wow. Wow, that's so soothing for me, being also a coach, that you, as a coach as well, you are really making it as your culture of a leadership, practicing that, being a leadership coach, and to really make the people feel fulfilled and be at peace with where they are and who they are and what they are doing, and at the same time complement for the productivity of the company. And that's what good looks like for you as the HR director and also the senior vice president. So Greg, thank you so much for
Thanks.
sharing time. Yes, for sharing your time with us. Anything else that you would like to say last words to our viewers today?
Really to thanks also PMAP. I think it's really great to bring lights to company, to bring people together, because I'm a believer that together we are stronger. So really thanks for that. And thanks, Jacqueline, for your time also. It was great to interact and to dialogue with you.
Thank you so much, Greg. And Joanne, I would like to bring this back to you.
Jackie, and congratulations to you, Greg, and to Nestle Philippines for being the Employer of the Year. And as you were having the conversations, Jackie and Greg, I remember, the lines from Spider-Man. I know it's cliche already. The line that says, "With great power comes great responsibility," and I can just see how much the leaders, how much Greg and the leaders of Nestle Philippines is embracing that responsibility, that accountability to employees, accountability to the stakeholders, the clients, the community, because we are with Nestle each and every day. And I really can sense how the organization is taking that seriously. And I want to thank Greg and the leaders of Nestle for really embracing that and taking it seriously and bringing it, doing things above and beyond. We really appreciate you there. Congratulations again. And we will move on to our fourth segment. fourth letter in the acronym of PMAP, Perk Your Heart. And we will perk our hearts as we hear a story about how a company has been making sure that its medical workforce are well equipped, because we know they are a very important part in our community, in our daily lives. Also, of course, the very essential part of nation building. And to lead the conversation in our fourth segment, I'm so excited for the first time as well to be co-hosting with us is a research associate in PMAP, Miss Margot Norega. Hi, Margot. Good afternoon.
Hi, Miss Joanne. Thank you so much for that very kind introduction. So, hello to all people managers and HR practitioners that are watching and listening to us today. I am Marco Angelina Rega, PMAP Research Associate and the professional staff in charge of the PMAP Awards for this year, and I welcome you to the final segment of the show. In the Perk Your Heart, we talk about health and wellness, and with us today is a perfect guest, one of the winners of the People Program of the Year Award, the Cardinal Santos Medical Center. And to represent the company, we have their Vice President and Head of Human Resource, the ever gorgeous Miss Lucky Diaz. Hi, Miss Lucky.
Hi, Margot. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to
Good
all your
afternoon,
viewers.
ma'am. This is not our first conversation.
Definitely not. Nice to see you again.
Yes, ma'am. Before anything else, ma'am, Miss Lucky, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lucky Diaz Tiozon, and I'm the Vice President and Head of Human Resources of Cardinal Santos Medical Center.
Yeah, so we are very much excited to have this conversation with you, Miss Lucky, and to get the ball rolling, of course, for the benefit of those who weren't able to watch the showcasing during the PMAP annual conference. You might share with us what was the People Program of the Year entry of Cardinal Santos that has won the People Program of the Year award.
Yes, so for Cardinal, our entry for the talent development category would be the Philippine Center for Advanced Surgery Minimally Invasive Surgery Training Center. So it's really a center that we have established in May of 2014, primarily dedicated to training our surgeons, our nurses, and allied health professionals in the practice of advanced surgery, particularly what you call MIS or minimally invasive surgery or laparoscopic surgery. So it's the surgery where you put only about 1 to 4 small incisions in the abdomen, and then they put in like a camera inside, and the doctor would look at the screen and then operate on a particular patient. So it's minimally invasive as opposed to general surgery where you truly open up yung abdomen ng isang tao. So it is a good advanced practice in surgery because it means lesser hospital stay in terms of number of days of recuperation. It's much more precise because of the use of camera during the surgery, and also because lesser infection kasi hindi ganun kalaki yung butas. So that was the entry that we had for a People Program of the Year 2022.
Basically, Miss Lucky, what motivated Cardinal Santos to develop this kind of program?
Yes. The PICAS MIS Training Center program was actually, as far as everybody in Cardinal is concerned, it's really an alignment and a fulfillment of our vision and our mission. You see, in Cardinal, our vision is to be the hospital of choice, providing excellent healthcare and also providing world-class medical training. All of the hospital, we are in the service industry, and we're only as good as our doctors, our nurses, and our allied health professionals. So if you will really look at it, developing our doctors, our nurses, our staff is really key to the sustainability of our operations. So that's why embedded in our vision is not only the provision of quality healthcare, but also the propagation of providing world-class medical training. So MIS, or the advanced techniques in surgery, is actually, the dream was really to give Filipinos access to better healthcare. So advanced surgery is being practiced in most advanced countries in the world. And our doctors, our leaders at the time thought of how do we influence bringing about this advanced practice here locally. And the best way to do that really is to train and educate more surgeons, more doctors, more nurses in the practice of advanced surgery so that they in turn can prescribe this to their patients who will be needing this procedure. So that's why the establishment of that center, as I've mentioned earlier, is a fulfillment of our vision and also our mission, because there are four pillars in our mission, Margot. No, the first one would really be to provide expertise in the fields of cardiology, neurosurgery, oncology, minimally invasive surgery, and also rehabilitation medicine. No? So nakasama doon yung minimally invasive surgery. So we really have a responsibility to propagate expertise in that field. No? The second pillar in our mission is really to be responsible for our patients, our physicians, our partners, and of course our people, our employees. No? And being responsible to them or for them does not only mean giving them the provisions, providing them with quality healthcare, but also in making sure that we continuously develop them so that they can be the best that they can be. No? The third pillar in our mission is really to create value for all our stakeholders and to ensure continuous or sustainable growth for our organization. And finally, to proactively address the needs of the communities that we serve. So the idea or the motivation behind coming up with the PICAS MIS Training Center is all embedded in our vision and our mission.
Oh, that's really nice to hear, ma'am. So, just by listening to you, we can come up with the idea that the program is really highly technical, you must say, or very medical. So, I'm very curious, and of course, I know our viewers are really keen to know what was the major role of the HR, the conceptualization, implementation of the program, and how did the management and the HR collaborate to the success
Okay.
of the program?
Yeah, we get that question a lot, no, especially
Yes,
during
I know.
the judging, no? And, and, I,
No.
and I can understand, Margot, because usually when
Yes.
we enter People Program of the Year, in the People
Mhm.
Program of the Year Awards, it's really HR specific programs, right? So
Yes.
although the training center is actually one of the way we practice in HR, training is part of the pillars of HR. This is really a strategic initiative of the organization. So the decision to come up with a training center is not solely an HR functional idea. It was really a strategic intent of the organization that all of the functions in the organization had to align and subscribe to and help implement. No? But to be very particular about the role of HR in Cardinal Human Resource, me as a division head, I sit in the senior management committee. So part of the people who made those decisions at that time includes the HR function. No? Second would be really we saw HR's role as as a strategic enabler, because once we decided on this particular initiative, definitely the understanding is every aspect of the organization must align and support and ensure that whatever it is we intended truly is executed well, no, and that we really ensure that the objectives that we have set are also achieved. So when I joined Cardinal also in 2014, that was the time that we are operationalizing the unit. So we worked with the group of Dr. Allen and of course our medical director in coming up with the right structure for their organization, in recruiting for the talents. I remember one of the it was the first time I had experienced, for example, recruiting for a veterinarian, no, which was required for the PICAS MIS Training Center, because they were dealing with porcine, no, live porcine in the training. No? So we have to have a veterinarian on board, no, developing the job descriptions, ensuring that people were on board before we started the training. Everything that and we provided it, no, together, of course, with our doctors, with the executive director of PICAS. And then over the years, that role has evolved also, because we also became, apart from a strategic enabler, we are a strategic partner to the PICAS MIS Training Center, because we send our nurses to training in PICAS MIS Training Center, particularly nurses in our operating room, because they are the ones assigned to assist, no, the doctors during surgeries. That not only the nurses, even our technicians, no, and our allied health professionals are also sent into training. In 2019, when we were experiencing a lot of nurse migration abroad, We sort of discussed this. We sat down with the executive director of PICAS MIS, because at that time, Dr. Allen and his team would have a lot of affiliations with hospitals all over the world. No? So we said, Dr. Allen, can we work together through your partners, that we will be able to send some of our nurses abroad so that they can also train. So instead of going abroad, we send them abroad to train and to get immersed and to experience, so that will also help them become better, no, when they come back in Cardinal, and maybe also teach, no. So we became partners, so and we were able to send several nurses, no. I think we were able to send 3 at that time, no. It's just that the pandemic happened, so we had, when the borders closed down, no, we had to, that program needed to take a back seat, and that's why right now we are trying to resume that, no. Also during the pandemic, Margo, a lot of people thought that the hospitals, were doing so well during the pandemic, right? Because everybody wanted to be inside the hospital, especially those battling COVID. No? But actually, the main challenge at that time was people were afraid to go to the hospital because they were fearful that they would get the COVID virus here, right? So they would get infected here. And so people did not know that, of course, we were dealing with COVID. We were treating patients who are infected with COVID, but we are still also a hospital. We continue to operate. We continue to do checkups, the things that we used to do, the non-COVID cases, so to speak. No, but because of fear, people would not go to the hospital. And so we devised, no, and this was a partnership between HR, marketing, and our medical team, no, our medical division. Now, we said, during the pandemic, of people's fear, inordinate fear of COVID, there must be a way that we will be talking to our patients or the general public differently. So we coined the Webicon, it's a Webicon, it's a webinar and a press conference. So in the Webicon, we talked about both COVID and non-COVID topics, right? So the first procedures, that life-saving services, we call them life-saving Webicon, was minimally invasive surgery, because surgery, Margo, is elective, di ba? So kung hindi pa puputok yung appendix mo, hindi ka naman pupunta ng ER, hindi ba? So usually you defer it or you schedule it. No? So we felt, okay, why don't we use this time to educate people more about the life-saving services that they probably don't know about, but we have in Cardinal. No? So we invited members of the press also, because we believe that when you have the press there, they would be asking the right questions and that they can speak more about the services that we do in Cardinal. And so that's also a partnership, no, that we did with Dr. Allen and the MIS Training Center. And finally, I think the key role that HR also played in this particular program or initiative would really be to be an advocate and a champion, right? Because this is not the first program, the PMAP People Program of the Year Award is not the first program or contest that we participated in, making PICAS MIS Training Center as an in the Asian Hospital Management Awards under talent development category as well, using this program. And the people who put together the write-up, coming up with the materials, that was also HR in partnership with PICAS MIS. So it's a very good working relationship in the hospital. And being an advocate is also, I believe, our role, not only in HR, but as a member of management, as a member of our caring Cardinal community, is to speak well about the life-saving services that we have in the hospital. And take note, Margo, no? During the pandemic in August 2020, I myself, I'm a good advocate because I myself experienced minimally invasive surgery, because at that time I underwent lap appendectomy. So instead of mahabang hiwa, to take out my appendix, so it was done through a single port, single incision in the belly button, done by my surgeon, Dr. Allen Buenafe, the executive director. So may perks din naman, yung aming partnership and good working relationship.
So, Miss Lucky, having heard everything that you have said, which is a lot, so I know you did a lot not just during the pandemic, but also before the pandemic. So I must say that you're really worthy of the award.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, may I ask, how was the awards experience for you, for the Cardinal Santos Medical Center?
Yeah, it was a very good experience. It has always been a very good experience. As you know, Margot, this is our second PMAP award. We were very privileged and fortunate enough to have been accorded the Employer of the Year award in 2016.
Yeah.
And it was a very challenging experience, but it was also a pleasant one, right? But
Yeah.
what makes it very different now is that I guess we really, in the last 3 years, battling this pandemic, we were in the hospital. We were also fearful about, getting infected. And can you imagine the challenge of, motivating your employees to come to work when most people would not go out of their homes, right? And the nurses and the doctors needed to come here so that we can continue to serve and care for people when they needed us the most, right? So it was a pleasant experience because at that time we felt that a lot of things are being said about the hospital. You look at our healthcare workers as heroes, and we said, why don't we tell them our story, right? Why don't we tell them our story of stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things every day during the pandemic and even before the pandemic and even after the pandemic. And so we thought, what are the programs that are working, right? Both COVID and non-COVID, and then why don't we join? Because when we join, we have the unique opportunity to tell that story, right? And we are shining the light on people in the hospital, both those that you see, those you were able to interview, and those in the background. Because this is really something that the entire organization can be behind, right? So apart from battling the pandemic, it was a new challenge. It's sort of coming together for a different initiative, for a different program. And so we thank you, Margot. We thank you, Edie, the judges, everybody from PMAP, because you came here. Most people, when we invite them to come over, they are
I think we lost Miss Lucky. So we actually came to the Cardinal Santos Medical Center together with the assessors of the PMAP Award. So we firsthand experienced and witnessed really how they perform the PCAS MIS. So I must say that, hi, Miss Joanne.
Hi, Margot. Yes, go ahead. Continue what you were saying. You must
Yes,
say.
yeah, I experienced firsthand how they do the PCAS MIS. So I must say that it's really a good program that will advance not just the medical field in the Philippines, but also in the nation building.
I very much agree with you. And they are our frontliners. They have to be equipped with the best, right? And of course, is taking care of the health of everyone, of our loved ones. And I say I also benefited from these technologies, not invasive procedures, because my husband also had a recent procedures, and it really is very comforting. Kasi pag sinabing may procedure, parang, diba, it's very scary. And
Yes,
he's fine.
with all
And
the
then
cuts that you have to do in your body.
exactly, right? And I think Miss Lucky is back. She can join again our conversation so that you can wrap it up. So I give it back to you, Margot.
sorry. Yeah, sorry about
It's
that.
okay, ma'am. It's okay. So I think we have a few minutes left, Miss Lucky. So as our final message, can I ask you for a short, very brief message to those who aspire to have their own People Program of the Year award for the next cycle of the PMAP Awards?
Yes. So first, to my fellow practitioners in HR, fellow practitioners of management, I really believe that participating in programs such as what the PMAP Awards is really very good, no? Because we have a responsibility to learn, right? First and foremost, we have a responsibility to learn. So when we join PMAP, we join the conferences, and when we look at the best practices, we are able to update our skills, expand our insights, right? But it shouldn't stop there, right? We also have a responsibility to be better, because when you learn something, you're supposed to practice it, you're supposed to learn from it, and it's supposed to make you better, and it's supposed to benefit the organizations that we are part of. And And I think finally is that we have a responsibility to propagate that learning also by sharing our best practices with other individuals, with other organizations. And the best way to do that is by participating in the PMAP Awards, right? Beyond winning, I think the experience itself is very good because you're able to, put your initiative, your best practice, so to speak, in a different lens. You're able to share it with a greater body, and you become better at it. And you're also giving your people, your team, your organizations something to rally behind, right? And at the end of the day, it's also about telling your unique stories, right? Because I'm sure all of us, have a lot of unique initiatives, unique stories that we can share and we can all learn from. So just do it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Lucky, for this very wonderful conversation. I hope we had more time, but truly we have learned a lot from your company, and we appreciate your company's advocacy to make our medical workforce more equipped.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much,
much,
Margot,
ma'am.
and congratulations.
Thank you. That's it, guys. This has been Margot Norega, your segment host for Perk Your Heart. Back to you, Miss Joanne.
Thank you so much, Margot, and thank you so much, Lucky. Congratulations, Lucky, and to Cardinal Santos for winning People Program of the Year. And congratulations, this is your second time. So I do hope that you would continue to advance what you do, continue to become better, because we really all learn from you. And of course, we really benefit from everything that you're doing to make sure you are taking care of our health. And here, what struck me most was the collaborative effort of the different functions in the organization. And that's really how we should work together, right? Because it's not just the role of the HR, but it's really a collaboration of every parts of the organization to make sure that we are serving the people that we are responsible for. So thank you so much to Cardinal Santos, and congratulations again. I want to thank our guest, Ms. Lucky, the Vice President and Head of Human Resources of Cardinal Santos Medical Center, HR Director of our Employer of the Year awardee, Mr. Greg Siliputi of Nestle Philippines. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. And also, of course, Mr. Ed Soriano, our past president, one of our head judges, and Ms. Rowena Seguido, the first Senior VP and Group Head for Human Resources of the Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation. Congratulations again, and we hope that we would see you in the future PMAP Awards. I am so excited to have a conversation with our segment host. So welcome back, Ron, Lawrence, Jackie, and Margot.
Hi.
So,
Hi
hi.
again.
So, thank you so
Hi,
much.
Joanne. Hi,
Thanks
everyone.
again. Yes, thanks again for joining us this afternoon. I really learned a lot. That was really very inspiring. I'm curious for you. What were your insights from the awards? I have two questions. What were your insights or takeaways from the awards? And can you also think of how someone went above and beyond? It does not have to be a person who won an award, because we have so many people in our lives that do extraordinary stuff. So you can choose any of the two questions I ask you while you're thinking of your responses. I just want to say that my key insight was for leader to take the risk, not be afraid to do the unknown. I think because all the awards, the winners we have for this year's PMAP Awards, I mean, they don't know what's going to happen, right? But they took the risk, they went forward, and I think that's really significant for us as people leaders. That's my insight. How about you guys? Who would like to start?
I'll go first. I'll go first,
That's right.
if you don't mind. So, during with my conversation with Miss Wen, and also from hearing all of the other conversations, it's really not compromising on our people. She mentioned about safety, so it's not a question if we will be between profit or safety of our people or safety of our clients, and that safety also includes their well-being. So again, there's no compromise with that one, putting people first. Second is that amidst all of the changes, yes, the environment will change. You'd really need to focus on your people because they are the ones who will need to manage change and live with the change. So, address that environment. You can't do anything about it anymore. But really, with the people, that's the way to move forward. That's it. Those are two big things for me.
Thanks a lot, Ron. Who would like to go next?
Yeah,
Jackie?
I can go next. All right. So there's only one word that really comes to me that's very resonating is the harmony. It's the harmony of how you are, what are your people practices, and in harmonizing that with the business results. So, and when you are harmonizing that, you also innovate so that people will continue to strive, people will continue to transform, just like what Ron was saying, that we really have to be with them, the people, because they are the ones who are living with this transformation. So as leaders, it is important for us to really find that harmony, or others may call it as a balance. Um, how to take care of the people, and in taking care of them, the results will take care of its own. So that's from my end.
Thanks a lot, Jackie. I saw Lawrence, you unmuted earlier. You
Yeah, that's right. No, and this is not so much from the winners, no, but from the insights shared by PP Ed in our conversation earlier. And it is basically like the role of the PMAP Awards to recognize and perhaps quoting PP Ed, seal the good practice, no, of organizations to be referred to as benchmarks of how to go above and beyond. No, so really being able to hear those particular insights and be refreshed, no, of the responsibility and the impact of the PMAP Awards is definitely a key takeaway for me.
thanks a lot, Lawrence. Hi, Margot.
Uh, of course, being the professional staff in charge of the PMAP Awards for this year's cycle, I must say that it's really a great opportunity for me to witness firsthand all the HR strategies and people first practices of all these winners, not just the winners, but of course the regional exemplars and also our nominees. So I know they've gone over above and beyond to serve their people, of course, and meeting not just their people first practices and policies, but of course also attaining their business goals, which is, I think, really relevant in today's time.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I very much agree with that. So thank you so much, Ron, Lawrence, Jackie, and Margot for joining our show this afternoon. And to everyone who is watching us, we as leaders, as people managers, and also of course as organizations, we are accountable not only to our financial stakeholders, but also to our employees, the family of our employees, the community, and of course to our country. We have to acknowledge that every decision, or in fact every indecision we make, creates a ripple effect. And our job is to make decisions in the present that includes, that considers our children's children and all generations in the future. We must take the long view and be accountable to everything that we do now. To all the PMAP Awards winners, nominees, and regional exemplars, congratulations. And may you continue to walk a mile ahead, a step ahead in everything you do. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, and we hope that we will see you again in our next episode, our last episode for the year, this coming December. And if you would like to know more about our winners, our regional exemplars, you can check out their stories as we will release the People Manager magazine online. You can check that out at www.peoplemanager.ph. People Manager on Cam is open to sponsorship. Contact Martin Alcantara of PMAP. Contact details are displayed below. And for those interested to join People Management Association of the Philippines, the premier organization of HR leaders in the country, contact Rhea. Her contact details are also shown on your screen right now, or check our PMAP website for membership details. I want to acknowledge and introduce the committee and the people behind this online program, our president, Ellen Pulido, COPA and the board of trustees, the committee members of PMAP's branding and marketing, media and communications committee, our editor-in-chief of the People Manager magazine, Joe Bataican, and also, of course, our technical team helping us behind this show, Sarah, Martin, and Dell. Thank you so much for all the hard work that you do. We hope that this episode was helpful and insightful and encourages us to give our best to all our employees, our community, and also, of course, to our country. To all our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in with us. Tune in again next month for the latest topics and discussions in the people management role. Again, my name is Joanna Setre, and this is People Manager on Cam. Bye.